5,000 years ago, something extraordinary happened. Power stopped being temporary and became eternal. This is the story of how ancient Egypt changed the meaning of power forever. The Nile Valley. Power, gods, and eternity. More than 5,000 years ago, in a narrow green corridor surrounded by desert, a civilization emerged that would outlive nearly all others. This was the Nile Valley. Here, power was not only political, it was divine. Around 5,000 years ago, early Egyptian communities began organizing life around the rhythm of the Nile. Each year, the river overflowed its banks. When the waters retreated, they left behind rich black soil, the foundation of agriculture. Unlike the unpredictable rivers of Mesopotamia, the Nile flooded with remarkable regularity. This stability created food security, and food security created something rare in the ancient world: continuity. From this continuity, centralized power became possible. But in Egypt, power was never merely administrative. It was sacred. Around 5,100 years ago, Egypt was unified under a single ruler. The Narmer palette, discovered in the 19th century, shows a king wearing both the white crown of Upper Egypt and the red crown of Lower Egypt, a symbol of political unification. But political unification was only part of the transformation. The ruler became Pharaoh. And the Pharaoh was not simply a king. He was considered the living embodiment of Horus, the falcon god of kingship. Upon death, he became Osiris, the god of the afterlife. He was also called the son of Ra, the sun god who traveled across the sky each day and through the underworld each night. Temple inscriptions from more than 4,500 years ago describe the Pharaoh as the guardian of Mata, the cosmic order that held the universe together. Mat meant balance, truth, justice. Without Mat, the world would fall into chaos. The pharaoh's role was not just to govern people. It was to maintain cosmic stability. Religion and politics were inseparable. The state was divine architecture. The king was not chosen by the gods. He was a god. And that belief reshaped human history. Around 4,500 years ago, during the Old Kingdom, this divine kingship took physical form. Stone began to rise from the desert. The Great Pyramid of Giza, built for Pharaoh Khufu, required an estimated 2 million limestone blocks. Archaeological evidence from workers' settlements discovered near Giza shows that thousands of laborers were organized into rotating crews. They were fed by the state, housed by the state, managed by the state. This was centralized power in action. But the pyramids were not just engineering achievements. They were cosmic machines. Their alignment with cardinal directions demonstrates advanced astronomical knowledge. Their internal chambers were designed to guide the pharaoh's spirit toward the heavens. The pyramid was a stairway to eternity. It declared something unprecedented. Power does not die. It ascends. Even today, more than 4,000 years later, the Great Pyramid still stands. A monument not just to a ruler, but to a belief in eternal authority. For the Egyptians, death was transformation. Texts known as the Pyramid Texts, carved inside royal tombs over 4,000 years ago, describe spells and rituals to protect the soul. Later, the Book of the Dead expanded these ideas. The heart of the deceased would be weighed against the feather of Mat. If the heart was heavier than truth, the soul would be devoured. If balanced, the soul would pass into eternal life. Mummification developed as a scientific and religious process. Organs were removed and preserved. The body was wrapped in linen. Tombs were filled with goods, food, jewelry, and protective inscriptions. Eternity required preparation. In Egypt, death was organized, and eternity was structured. For nearly 3,000 years, from unification about 5,000 years ago until the Roman conquest 2,000 years ago, Egypt maintained remarkable continuity. Administrative papyri from sites such as Deir el-Medina reveal taxation systems, labor assignments, and detailed record-keeping dating back more than 3,000 years. The Nile's predictability allowed agricultural planning. Planning required bureaucracy. Bureaucracy strengthened the Pharaoh. Egypt was not simply a civilization. It was a sacred state, a system where geography, faith, and administration fused into one. In Mesopotamia, humanity learned how to build cities. In Egypt, humanity learned how to make power eternal. 5,000 years ago, political unity reshaped society. 4,500 years ago, pyramids pierced the sky. 4,000 years ago, the journey of the soul was mapped. Between river and desert, a civilization rose that transformed the meaning of authority. Power was no longer temporary. It was divine. And when power becomes divine, it can last for millennia.